Good morning, or afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world catching this vid. It is Friday, it is the beginning of the weekend. Hopefully you guys have a kick-ass weekend, starting right now. And in the pro wrestling world, we got a big event this Sunday night, titled the Royal Rumble, brought to you by World Wrestling Entertainment. Or as Vince McMahon used to say back in the day, the Royal Rumble. That's when they actually put in effort into their promotional work. This event comes on the last day of January, and this officially kicks off WrestleMania season. Now there is 5 matches that we're going to go over. They might add more are in the works, obviously, but 5 matches, and I want to start off right from the jump with the women's tag title match. This is current champions Asuka and Charlotte Flair taking on former champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. First of all, right from the jump, the match itself does nothing for me. I know it doesn't do a lot for a lot of you guys. Not only have we already seen it, but it's Shayna and Nia versus Asuka and Charlotte. A match nobody desires. These are all singles competitors. Asuka is a singles champion that should be having championship matches. Alone. Singles. Her and one other individual. A challenger. Not a tag team partner hitched by her side. But we all know why they have the championships, because Charlotte came back and Vince wanted Charlotte to get that rub from Asuka. That's not shade, that's just the truth. Asuka was with Lana, Charlotte's coming back, we gotta ditch Lana and throw Charlotte with Asuka, because they really wanted Charlotte to return as this big face, but they knew more than half the crowd is not behind Charlotte Flair or her booking. So, they hitched her up with Asuka, who they know has tremendous respect with the audience, with the fan base. And that fell flat on its face as well. Because then people are like, why did you take the straps off of Shayna and Nia? That's all they had going for themselves. Shayna Baszler has been booked so tragically, it's heartbreaking. So you put her with Nia, you think, okay, 2 big beasts. They'll get the championship and they'll actually maybe make something of the tag division. But no, instead, it's all for Charlotte Flair. Everything gets turned upside down to appease Charlotte Flair's booking. Asuka can't even get a storyline. Finally, with Alexa Bliss, we're starting to see a storyline with Asuka. There's a pleasant surprise. For months, she can't even have a title defense, because she has to play tag team champion with Charlotte. And on the other side, Nia and Shayna, the one thing they had going for them was the tag championships. They can't even get a lengthy run with those titles because we have to give it to Charlotte. Everything gets turned upside down for one person's booking, and it's Charlotte every single time. And then there's actually some dummy out there that wonders why people are upset with Charlotte's booking. Why are they not on board with Charlotte Flair? Well, now you know. In one match, you see all the flaws within WWE. Your singles champion can't even have a match at the Rumble. Her and a challenger. No, she's got to play tag team champion. For Charlotte. And Shayna Baszler, we should be talking about her in contention to win a Rumble match. But no, she's playing around in a tag division because she was probably promised a big push. Until, there's an asterisk, right? Until Charlotte comes back. And Nia Jax, she should be retrained somewhere. Not even NXT. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody in NXT. She should be retrained. Her, a trainer, in a ring, somewhere in an abandoned warehouse. Retrain her. But if you're going to bring them together and promise them the world, give them the titles, and just for a month and a half, and then you throw them over to 2 singles competitors, one of them is a champion in Asuka, none of this makes sense. So what do? We play the game where the only way this can go is you give the titles back to Nia and Shayna now, correct? You can't have Asuka and Charlotte holding tag titles all the way to WrestleMania, or maybe they do, just to make Charlotte or try to push her as relevant. I probably shouldn't have started with this match. We already amplified. This is supposed to be a calm discussion about the Rumble. That's how I feel about this. This whole thing is dumb from the beginning. This is a dumb match for the Royal Rumble. It makes no sense. Everybody loses here, even Charlotte. Even though it was all for Charlotte, she loses too, because it makes her look just as dumb as everybody else. I see these championships going back to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler Sunday night. That's the only logical conclusion we can draw from this. And then we hope and we pray to the wrestling gods that McMahon can find viable opponents for Shayna and Nia for the championships at WrestleMania. Which then again, I see them dropping it at Mania too. Because you can't have Nia and Shayna tied at the hip going into the summer. What do you do with Shayna Baszler after WrestleMania? Hopefully they finally give her the time of day and give her a push. Is that too much to ask from a real talent? Next up, oh Maron. It's Drew McIntyre, your WWE champion, defending that championship this Sunday night at the Royal Rumble against Bill Goldberg. That's right, don't adjust your earphones, your headset. You heard that correctly. It may not be 1998, but Bill Goldberg is going for another championship in 2021, and this time, he's got his eyes set on Drew McIntyre's title. This sent the entire pro wrestling world into a frenzy, because we have just seen this same script play out time and time again. And just like we talk about with Charlotte, it does nothing for anybody on that roster except for one individual. We think back to The Fiend, and when that character was so damn hot and collecting momentum, and here comes Bill Goldberg, and in just a couple of minutes, he not only takes The Fiend's title, but he derails the momentum. And Bray Wyatt then had to regroup, all to put the title on this 50-plus-year-old dude. And then we saw Bill Goldberg take the title from Kevin Owens, when Owens had all the momentum in the world. And in just a few minutes, the title is being taken off of Owens, derailing Owens, and you can claim, until this latest feud with Roman Reigns recently, Owens never regained that momentum. That was derailed by Bill Goldberg, and it was never brought back. There's people today, you guys know I speak highly of Bray Wyatt. I think he is a creative genius. Factual statement. But there's people today that say, BC, I hear what you're saying. I just cannot feel the same way about The Fiend ever since what happened with Goldberg. I mean, these are what fans are saying. This is what this one dude has done. And believe me, we just don't blame Billy Goldberg. No, it's obviously the old man in Stamford, Connecticut making those decisions. Billy Goldberg's over here collecting a huge fat paycheck and making crazy demands that McMahon is saying yes to. Oh, I'll come back, but I really want to be in the title picture. And McMahon's like, okay. And then McMahon, as zany as he is, starts thinking maybe we should put the title on you because we haven't built any stars in the last 15 fucking years anyway. Maybe John Cena, that's it. Roman is finally, now that he turned heel, becoming that individual. But we haven't built any young stars. Let's put it on Goldberg. We have nothing else. So when two people start making crazy demands and they're crazy enough, you end up getting situations where The Fiend is being beat in just a couple of minutes for the championship. Where Kevin Owens, with all the momentum in the world, is being derailed for a championship. It's all Goldberg. And now we're about to see it again with Drew McIntyre, and wrestling fans have had enough. McIntyre needs that lengthy reign. And we're seeing Goldberg come up, bypass everybody on the roster, and say, you're next. We have no problem with Goldberg coming back and having a match if that's what he desires. If he truly wants to get it out of his system, he's a legend. We'll welcome him back. We like to hear the music. We'll take a spear and a jackhammer. It'll be fun. But why does he always have to come back in a title picture, in a title match, and on top of that, actually take the title every time? It derails everybody. Fans have had enough. BC definitely has, man. You thought I flipped out when he defeated The Fiend. And that review video afterwards, when I totally flipped, that was nothing. That was BC at maybe a 7. You want to see BC tip the meter, fly past that 10 spot. if he defeats Drew McIntyre, I'm telling you right now, no excuses will be accepted, no mulligans will be given. We are going to flip on this company like never before, because that is a catastrophic, tragic situation that should never even be entertained by the old man in Stamford. This is McIntyre's victory. In fact, I don't see this, or it shouldn't go more than 5 minutes long. Let this be a statement match for Drew McIntyre. Anything else? Unacceptable. Moving on, over on the blue brand, the Universal Championship will be defended by champion Roman Reigns taking on challenger Kevin Owens. This is a rematch. They're going to have to be careful here. Obviously, Roman Reigns has to walk away Sunday night with that championship. This cannot go to Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns has all the momentum in the world, in the wrestling world. It's all on his shoulders. You can't throw the title over to Owens. But they do have to be careful because Owens has lost the last 2 matches to Roman at TLC. In a TLC match to Roman, he lost. And then, that very week on SmackDown, he lost a steel cage match. So, this is another stipulation match. This is last man standing. So, I believe this is a way to alleviate some of the pressure on Owens losing this match. Last man standing, you could have something epic happen. I would really like to see Jimmy Uso, for instance, get involved. We saw him in the storyline when Jay was taking on Roman. And we saw Jimmy a couple of times. It would be really cool if Jimmy came out to help Jay and Roman defeat Kevin Owens. I feel now is a time to add another member into the Tribal Chiefs regime. And it doesn't even have to be just Bloodline. I would like to see individuals like Samoa Joe eventually in that regime. I know, he's a Monday Night Raw commentator. This is just my wild ideas. I would like to see the Tribal Chief actually have a regime, especially with Paul Heyman. I remember way back in the WCW days, Paul Heyman had the Dangerous Alliance. Paul Heyman used to be known back then as Paul E. Dangerously. And I just think him with the Tribal Chief, this Roman character, heading a faction, man, you could do so much with it. So anyway, I would like to see somebody like Jimmy come out and help his brother help their cousin defeat Kevin Owens once and for all. If not, then you're telling me this is a straight up loss for Owens. I mean, obviously Roman needs the victory, but they have to be really delicate on how they handle this situation for Owens, because this could really derail the momentum that he just started to get back, that he lost many moons ago to Goldberg. And he finally found that mojo in this storyline with Roman. I think it's clear now, this is their third in this trilogy, their match. This has to end Sunday night, but you have to find a way that Owens is still going to be relevant going forward. I think if it's a big finish with a hard impact, I think that's going to sit well with most of us. If you just have a straight up Owens just got bitched out again, that's not cool, man. Not cool for Owens at least. So, and it's one of those situations where, dare I say, can't believe I'm saying these words, but we have to put our hope and our faith that WWE will make the right creative decision here. With Paul Heyman involved, I think they'll come up with something pretty cool. Roman has to obviously walk away with the title. He has to beat Owens, but I hope they do it in a way where Owens saves face and can have some of this momentum to go forth with. But last man standing, this should be pretty fun. The best in their trilogy. And then we get to the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble match. Now with this one, you talk about up in the air. This is probably one of those years, more than any other, that we truly don't know which way the old man in Stamford, Connecticut is going with. And the older he gets, the more zany he gets. But these are actual names, guys. There's like 6 off the top of my dome piece that are still being discussed. One moment we're hearing that it's official, Vince knows who he's going with. Then we're hearing that he tore that up and he's rethinking things. Then we heard there's another name. These are names currently being discussed. We don't know who's actually going to be in it or not. Some people we do, like Edge. And he is ever since he announced it on Monday Night Raw, he is now one of the odds-on favorites to win this son of a bitch. But it's not just Edge. Seth Rollins is being talked about to enter the Rumble and win it. Does he even enter? And if he does and he doesn't win it, who takes him out? Does that start a WrestleMania feud? Rollins has already went on record and say he wants to be a part of Mania. You gotta believe it starts Sunday night. We're also hearing that the modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, is going to be entering the Rumble. And just this week, we started hearing word that McMahon wants to go with Mahal to revamp their relationship with India once more. And this time, they're going full throttle. We're also hearing that John Cena is a definite for WrestleMania this year. If that's the case, just like Rollins, do they start it Sunday night? But John Cena, don't be totally shocked if you see this dude in the Rumble, and don't be too shocked if he actually wins it. I take that back. I'd be pretty shocked if John Cena won this thing, but it's possible. These are names that are still being discussed, not just amongst fans. I'm talking reputable sources, if you will, are saying these names are still on the table. I'm even hearing Brock Lesnar could be flied in. McMahon could change his mind at the drop of a hat, blink of an eye, and you could see Brock Lesnar win this son of a bitch. We're also hearing Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan has set himself up to win this with his promo that he cut weeks ago about that's the one thing he's always wanted to do and he's never done. But you have a lot of fans like BC that are just not on board with that. Again, the dude has been booked into irrelevancy in 2020, or at least mid-card status. And then in 2021, so far he's on a losing streak. And now all of a sudden he's going to win the Rumble, and we have 2 months to try to recapture the magic that we all had 7 years ago at WrestleMania 30 in 2014 with the Yes Movement. No, you can't recreate that. Times have changed, and Daniel Bryan, as much as we all love him, he's not as hot as he once was. They booked him like shit in 2020. Again, he lost to Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro. He's on a losing streak in 2021. But he's putting people over, BC. I don't care. Not at a time where he's supposed to win the Rumble and be a WrestleMania main event. I need those people to look like winners. So in 2 months, we're supposed to try to recapture that magic. I don't see how that happens with Daniel Bryan. And then there's the wild cards. If you're talking about Daniel Bryan, then why are we not talking about Cesaro or Shinsuke Nakamura again? Nakamura wins the Rumble, and this dude flopped afterwards thanks to Vince McMahon. He had a WrestleMania flop. So what about Cesaro? Do you give Shinsuke Nakamura another shot, and this time do him justice? And on the flip side, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan had his moment, had his time at WrestleMania 30. Why are we trying to recreate something that's not there? Why not give Cesaro a huge opportunity? If you're only going to have 2 months to try to build that suspense anyway, why not do it with Cesaro? I mean, there's names, there's wild cards that people are talking about. If it's not one of these big names, if it is somebody like Daniel Bryan, you better give me a good reason why people like BC should care. Not just because he's never won a Rumble before. Not just because back at WrestleMania 30, when it was the Yes Movement, that was supposed to be Roman Reigns' spot. I need more than that, bro. Because I can get Edge and Roman at WrestleMania. That's pretty cool. Not just the match, but the story. I could get Seth Rollins and Roman with this heel Roman and Seth Rollins with their history. Yeah, I could get that. I could get John Cena going for his record over Ric Flair against this Roman Reigns. I mean, I could get some pretty awesome actual WrestleMania matchups and storylines that are pretty fucking epic. And you're going to book Daniel Bryan into irrelevancy in 2020, have him in a losing streak in 2021, and then all of a sudden, poof, I should give a fuck? No, absolutely not. Can you honestly blame me for not giving a shit? And I love D-Bry. I'm pretty sure all of us do. Damn solid wrestler. A part of some of the best moments in WWE for the past 10 years. But times change and booking is everything, and there's some big names that could really tussle with Roman, not just in the match, but storyline-wise. That would be so epic. If you're gonna go D-Bry, you better, and by you, I mean WWE, the old man Stanford, they better give people like BC a real reason to give a shit that that's my WrestleMania main event in 2021. Because there's some heavy hitters being discussed. Now, we don't know who actually enters the Rumble, aside from Edge, who said he will be there. Does Seth Rollins show up in that Rumble? Jinder, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Will it be other surprises? Will it be a shock to everybody? Somebody like Cesaro? Maybe Shinsuke gets a second chance to redeem himself from 2018. Of course, he won that year's Royal Rumble, went to WrestleMania to challenge for AJ Styles Championship, and AJ Styles defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. Does he get another shot, another chance to redeem himself? And who's the surprise entrance this year? With the Wabaka hitting the globe and traveling being an issue and people not wanting to come out, is the surprise entrance, if there is any, going to be Tatanka or Goldberg? Of course, surprise other than the big-time players like a Seth Rollins, a John Cena, if they so choose to go that route. So there's a lot of question marks, man. Sure, it's not as fun without a crowd, no doubt. That is going to suck again this year with no fans in attendance, counting down, right? We're gonna have the audio chimed in, the fake chant over the loudspeaker. It's not going to be the same, obviously, so yeah, that's gonna suck. But there is a lot of question marks that makes it somewhat intriguing, so we'll have to wait and see. My top 3 that I would not mind winning this thing, I'll be on board with, because I can't get The Rock and Roman this year. We gotta wait a few years for Los Angeles, for Hollywood. So my 3 is going to be Edge, John Cena, Seth Rollins. If any one of them win and take on Roman at WrestleMania, this is going to be fun business just picked up. I'll be on board. And then it's time for the ladies to come out and play in the 2021 Women's Rumble match. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. There's times in the past couple of years where the ladies were more entertaining than the men's match. I just got to be honest. They usually pull out some really cool shit. I expect the same, a lot of creativity. I'm hoping the agents are working closely with them as it seems they have in years past. And this should be good. I'm not gonna jinx it in any way, but this should be good. You have a lot of phenomenal talent in here. I hope everybody is booked properly. When it's all said and done, I don't see how this company does not finally get behind Bianca Belair. We always talk about new stars. They need to be created. This one is sitting in their lap. Her name is Bianca Belair. She has been on that main roster for a fucking year now and has gotten nothing. Now is the time to pull that trig and finally propel Bianca Belair to the superstardom that she is destined to have. Because if we keep fucking around with Bianca's booking, she is going to end up in a tragic booking situation like Shayna Baszler, where she's so far into obscurity now, so far into irrelevancy, that one more loss, and we could have to use that dreaded B word for Shayna Baszler, buried. And I hate that word in pro wrestling. Every time somebody loses, we say they're buried. But Shayna Baszler is one big loss away from being that. I would hate to see Bianca Belair in 1 year's time frame from right now. In 1 year, we're talking about Bianca, who should have been a superstar. And instead, she's buried. I would hate to say that right now is where we have to stop the BS and start making stars. One could be created Sunday night, and her name is Bianca Belair. Would they go Bayley winning this thing? Then what do? Bayley and Sasha have to restart that feud again in 2 months? That would be so fucking odd, man. I could be down with it because there is such an awesome chemistry, so much history, and they obviously gel being best friends in real life, and we know the matches they can put on from Brooklyn NXT and in WWE, but NXT was their best. But we all gotta get reinvested with just 2 months' time to get Bayley and Sasha again. Or do you have somebody win and take on Asuka? Does Alexa Bliss, who you guys know I am high on right now, I love Alexa Bliss right now in that new characters. It's like the 3 faces of Alexa right now. You got the Goddess, Twisted Bliss, and Dark Bliss. Does one of those Blisses win and challenge Asuka at WrestleMania? I'm actually down with that. I know a lot of people wouldn't want to see Alexa taking that spot, but because you could do that without a Royal Rumble victory, so I totally understand that. But I'm so high on Alexa right now. Man, that would be like the only name other than Bianca that I would be okay with. Do they do that? And then again, you would have to think Alexa would choose Asuka. There's already something started between them two. But that would be the only other name. But yeah, that would be the only other name because I got Bianca Belair not only winning this thing, but going to WrestleMania to take on Sasha Banks. Could you imagine that match, guys, at WrestleMania? And at least there's going to be fans in attendance. Some. It's better than no fans with this type of epic match. But Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, title on the line. And I'll tell you what I would do, guys. I would give them at least 20 minutes. At least. I want 25 plus. I want this to be one of those fucking classics because both these ladies can put on such. On the biggest stage of them all, and Sasha defeats Bianca. But the world is like, what the fuck? We need to see this again. And if they captivate us the right way in the way that I know they truly can at WrestleMania, we all want to see it again. At SummerSlam, Bianca takes the title from Sasha Banks. Not at Mania, though. I want this to be like a teacher-student type thing where they have an epic clash and Sasha finds her way to prevail and they shake hands afterwards. But you know, the world knows we have to see this again. Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, SummerSlam Part 2. Bianca takes the title. That's how I would book this anyway. But again, it all goes back to the Rumble, and it starts at square one. You have to plant those seeds. Well, this doesn't get planted unless Bianca Belair pulls this out. That's who I'm going with. And on top of that, you start talking about the surprises as well. You gotta believe there's gonna be some surprises aside from the Ivories and the Molly Hollies. I would love to see Trish Stratus in there battling with Ruby Riott. I would love to see Mickie James in there battling with Liv Morgan and then all of a sudden staring at one another, reliving their history. I know we saw that in a past, I believe we saw that in a past Rumble, right? And that was pretty fucking epic. But I always remember Sasha Banks and Trish Stratus staring each other down and going to blows during a Rumble match. And it just made you think, you know, the old versus the new, the teachers versus the students. Man, you know, you could have so much fun when you have people in there like Trish Stratus. And Mickie James isn't just a legend. She can still go. I would love to see Mickie James have one more, not just run, but a title run. So it would be cool if she's in there as well. But, you know, surprises like Trish Stratus are always fun. Somebody like Alita. And then some names that are down in NXT. You know, a name like Ember Moon, who obviously has been on the main roster before, chased around a 24/7 title with the rest of the Catering Crusaders and broke her leg. We're happy to even have her wrestling again. But she's down in NXT. It would be great to see her in the Royal Rumble. Io Shirai, who you guys know I love down in NXT, their current women's champion, to see her in the Rumble. Io Shirai, baby. Man, that would be awesome. And who knows? You know, this dude could honestly have the old man in Stamford could have Charlotte Flair win this thing when it's all said and done. I joke about it, but knowing this dude, I wouldn't put it past him. So we'll have to wait and see what they come up with. Thank you guys for chilling with me on this preview show. We'll all wait and see what they actually deliver. Hopefully it's a fun show. Hopefully on the review, the good, the bad, and the ugly the next day, the next morning, we'll be talking about this show positively. I won't hold my breath on that, but we'll see. Thank you guys. We'll see what they put out there. For now, check you later.